Hello, everyone. 1 Timothy 2 1 and 2 tells us to pray for everyone, including all those in authority. That means we need to pray for our political leaders. Here in Canada, we need to pray on three levels: municipal, provincial, and federal. We need to pray for our mayor and mayors. We need to pray for our premier of Ontario and the other premiers and territorial leaders across the nation. And we need to pray for our prime minister. During this COVID-19 pandemic, we especially need to pray for them because they have some very important decisions to make soon, tough decisions regarding when and how to reopen Canada, federally, provincially, even municipally. We need to pray for our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, so that he will be granted God's wisdom to know when and how to open the Canadian border again. We need to pray for our Premier, Doug Ford, so that he knows when and how to reopen things here in Ontario. And we need to keep praying for our Mayor of Cambridge and the other mayors of the cities in Ontario so that they know how and when to reopen things. It'll be gradual, but they need God's wisdom and they need God's courage to do what is right for the people of the municipality, of the province, and of the nation. And what the Apostle Paul instructed us in 1 Timothy 2 1 and 2 echoes what Nehemiah did back in his day, centuries earlier. He prayed for the king of Persia, and Jeremiah, the prophet, instructed the exiles in Babylon to pray for the city where they were living, because he said, if the city prospers, you will prosper. And so for our sake, in our condition, we need to pray, because if our cities and our provinces and territories and our nation prospers, then we will prosper. The reason why we are told to pray for all those in authority, that is, the political leaders especially, is, as the verse says, so that we can live peaceful and quiet lives. Interesting how that is a parallel to what we have here in Canada: peace, order, and good government, which is enshrined in the British North American Act, which became part of the Canadian Constitution at Confederation in 1867. Peace, order, and good government. In other words, stability. And Paul's words in 1 Timothy 1 verse 2, in that verse, he says that we are to live peaceful and quiet lives as a result of us praying for our political leaders. So take to heart 1 Timothy 2 1 and 2. Remember the first verse, to pray for all of our political leaders so that God will grant them wisdom and courage to do what is right during this coronavirus crisis time, to know when and how to reopen things for the sake of the people, for all of us who live here in Canada. And to remember 1 Timothy 2 verse 2, so that as a result of that and of their wise and courageous decisions, that we will all live peaceful and quiet lives. We will have stability, because that's what we need in this very unstable time, in this time where everything is shut down and we are shut in. Things need to reopen one day, gradually, and our leaders need our prayers. It doesn't matter whether the leaders are Christian or not. We who are Christians need to pray for our leaders, our prime minister, our premier, our mayor, so that things will be done right, so that they will have God's guidance in a very trying time. So let's all, as God's people, continue to pray for Prime Minister Trudeau, for Premier Doug Ford, for Mayor Catherine McGarry, for all the mayors, all the premiers and territorial leaders, our Prime Minister and his team, so that things will go well for all of us in this great nation, from coast to coast to coast, because they need our prayers and we need to pray. Amen.